The fallen air, the howling winds of Nexus Prime's northern wilderness carried the scent of burning metal and exotic fuel. Lieutenant Commander Elise Reeves pulled her thermal jacket tighter, squinting through the swirling snow at the wreckage, half buried in the icy terrain. What had initially registered as a meteor impact on colony sensors now revealed itself as something far more significant and dangerous. "Perimeter secure, Commander," reported Sergeant Torres, his rifle charged. "And ready. But you should see this." Elise followed Torres through the debris field, past twisted alloys that shimmered with an iridescent quality no human manufacturer had ever achieved. The crash site told a story of catastrophic system failure, or perhaps something more deliberate. "Talaxian vessel," she muttered, recognizing the distinctive crystalline patterns in the ship's remaining structural components. "Stealth-class interceptor." The war with the Talaxian Empire had officially ended 3 months ago with an uneasy armistice, but tensions remained high. Nexus Prime, humanity's farthest colonial outpost, had suffered devastating attacks during the conflict. Many colonists still carried fresh grief and anger over lost loved ones. "Movement in the primary hull section," Torres said, raising his weapon. Elise approached cautiously, her breath crystallizing in the frigid air. The twisted metal parted to reveal a figure, unmistakably Talaxian, with silvery skin that seemed to pulse with bioluminescent patterns. Unlike most of their kind, this one had intricate markings that spiraled from forehead to neck. Royal lineage markings, that's... Torres began, recognition dawning on his face. "Princess Lysara," Elise finished. "High Commander of the 7th Fleet." The Talaxian royal heir was barely conscious, her body a horrifying fusion of organic tissue and technological components. What humans sometimes mistook for armor on Talaxians was actually an integrated exoskeletal system, a biological wonder that made them formidable warriors. Now, that system was catastrophically damaged, with components fused to Lysara's flesh, in ways that made Elise wince. "Alert medical. Priority Alpha," Elise ordered into her comm. "And Torres, this stays classified. Colony-level clearance only." "Commander, with all due respect," Torres protested, his voice tight with barely controlled anger. "That's the alien who ordered the bombardment of New Alexandria. 3,000 civilians died." Elise met his gaze steadily. "And if she dies here, we lose any chance of understanding why a Talaxian royal heir was shot down over our airspace. Apparently by her own people. The colony's medical bay wasn't designed for Talaxian physiology. Dr. Maya Chen, Nexus Prime's chief medical officer, had studied alien biology extensively during the war, but always to understand weaknesses, never to heal. Her biological-technological interface is unlike anything I've seen in captured Talaxian soldiers, Maya explained, gesturing to holographic scans floating above Lysara's unconscious form. "The royal lineage has significantly more advanced integration. Her systems are actually attempting to self-repair, but the damage is too extensive." Governor Abrams, a former Earth Alliance general, frowned deeply. "The diplomatic implications of having a Talaxian royal in our custody are complicated, especially one officially reported killed in action 2 weeks ago." Elise's head snapped up. "Killed in action? The Talaxian Empire announced her death?" "With full ceremonial honors," Abrams confirmed. "According to our intelligence, she supposedly died heroically in a classified operation near the Vega boundary. Yet, here she is in our territory, shot down by weapons that, according to these scans, are Talaxian in origin," Elise said, the pieces forming a disturbing picture. Dr. Chen interrupted, her voice urgent. "We need to make a decision. Her core biological systems are failing. Without intervention, she'll be dead within hours." "Can you save her?" Abrams asked. "Not with conventional methods," Maya admitted. "But we've been developing adaptive nanotech for human neural injuries. Theoretically, we could modify it to bridge the damaged sections of her biotechnological systems. Using experimental human medical technology on a Talaxian royal?" Elise asked incredulously. "Has that ever been attempted?" "Never," Maya said. "The integration would be unpredictable. Her systems might reject it completely or, Abrams prompted, or it could create a hybrid integration we've never seen before. The decision weighed heavily on them all. Saving a former enemy, commander, one responsible for attacks on human colonies, would be controversial. Letting her die might be simpler politically. But Elise couldn't shake the feeling that Lysara's presence represented something more significant than past conflicts. "Do it," Elise finally ordered. "If someone tried to assassinate her and make it look like a heroic death, I want to know why." The WAIM, Adaptive Nanotech Integration Procedure, lasted 18 hours. Maya's team worked tirelessly, navigating the complex interface between human technology and Talaxian biology. The nanotech, originally designed to repair severed neural pathways in human spinal injuries, adapted to Lysara's systems in ways no one had predicted. "It's extraordinary," Maya whispered, watching the holographic displays. "Her biological systems are not just accepting our technology, they're incorporating it, evolving with it." 3 days later, Princess Lysara opened her eyes. The initial communication attempts were challenging. Talaxian language centers operated differently from human ones, and Lysara's implanted translator had been damaged in the crash. Elise enlisted the help of Dr. Naveen Kapoor, the colony's leading expert on xenolinguistics. "Her neural patterns are stabilizing," Naveen explained, monitoring brain activity displays. "The nanotech integration has created new pathways that are beginning to facilitate communication." When Lysara finally spoke, her voice was a strange harmony of organic and synthetic tones. "You saved me. Why?" The question came slowly, each word carefully formed. "We're not at war anymore," Elise replied simply. Lysara's luminescent patterns flickered. What Elise had learned was the Talaxian equivalent of a bitter laugh. "Officially, perhaps," she said. "Yet here I am, shot down by my own people." Over the following days, as Lysara's strength returned, a disturbing picture emerged. The Talaxian royal court was fractured, with a faction led by Lysara's cousin, Prince Vexnar, pushing for renewal of hostilities against human colonies. "The armistice was my initiative," Lysara explained, her movements becoming more fluid as she adapted to the human nanotech now integrated into her systems. "I saw the war as unnecessary, a conflict born of misunderstanding rather than true enmity." "Your cousin disagreed," Elise surmised, vehemently, "but he lacked the authority to challenge me directly." Lysara's eyes, silver with bioluminescent pupils, fixed on Elise. "Until my convenient death in battle created an opening for new leadership." Elise reviewed the recovered data from Lysara's ship with Colony Security Chief Morgan Wells, a former intelligence operative. The evidence was damning. Communications revealing a coordinated ambush, weapon signatures matching Vexnar's elite guard, and falsified death reports prepared before the attack even occurred. "He never expected your ship to crash in human territory," Morgan observed. "He certainly never expected you to survive." "Which gives us an advantage," Elise said. "As far as the Talaxian Empire knows, Princess Lysara died a hero's death. We have time to understand exactly what's happening and determine our response." That night, Elise found Lysara in the medical bay's observation room, watching the moons of Nexus Prime rise over the colony's protective dome. "Your technology," Lysara said without turning. "These nanites integrating with my systems, they're not military grade." "No," Elise confirmed. "They were developed to heal spinal injuries, to help people walk again." Lysara turned, her bioluminescent patterns shifting in what Elise had come to recognize as an expression of puzzlement. "My people developed similar technology, but only for enhanced warfare capabilities." She lifted her arm, where human nanotech had seamlessly integrated with her damaged exoskeletal system. "You could have weaponized this. Instead, you heal." "Not always," Elise admitted. "Humanity has its own history of weaponizing what should heal, but we're trying to be better." A proximity alarm shattered the moment. Chief Wells's voice came through the comm system, tense and urgent. "Commander, we've detected a Talaxian scout vessel entering the outer system. stealth configuration, but our new quantum sensors picked them up. Elise's eyes met Lysara's. "They're looking for me," the princess said. "Or rather, they're confirming I'm truly dead. Vexnar would want to be thorough." "What happens if they find you here?" Elise asked. "Alive and integrated with human technology?" Lysara's expression hardened, her bioluminescent patterns shifting to a cold, steady glow. "Then the fragile peace my death helped secure will shatter," she said. "And your colony will be the first casualty of a renewed war." As the Talaxian scout vessel moved closer to Nexus Prime, Elise gathered the colony's leadership. The situation had evolved from a medical emergency to a potential diplomatic catastrophe or opportunity. "We have two options," she explained. "Hide Princess Lysara and deny all knowledge of her survival, or what?" Governor Abrams demanded. "Or we help her reclaim her position and expose the conspiracy," Elise finished. The room erupted in objections. The risks were enormous. The colony had barely recovered from the last war. They couldn't afford to become the flashpoint for another. In the midst of the argument, Lysara entered the chamber. Her movement was different now. The human nanotech had integrated so completely with her systems that she moved with a fluid grace that seemed neither fully Talaxian nor human. "I have a third option," she announced, her voice silencing the room. "One that could secure not just a continuation of the armistice, but a true alliance." As she outlined her plan, Elise realized that what had begun as a simple rescue mission had become something far more significant, a potential turning point in human-Talaxian relations. The fallen heir had not just survived, she had been transformed. And as the Talaxian scout ship drew closer, they prepared for a confrontation that would reshape the future of both species. The Reckoning, the Talaxian scout vessel, entered high orbit around Nexus Prime with the arrogant confidence of a predator certain of its prey. Its stealth systems, though advanced, registered clearly on the colony's newly calibrated quantum detection grid, a defense network hastily modified using insights from Princess Lysara's integrated knowledge. "They're scanning the crash site," Morgan Wells reported from the security center, monitoring the vessel's systematic sweep patterns. "Standard Talaxian recovery protocols, looking for remains and technology." Governor Abrams watched the holographic display with visible tension. "And when they don't find a body?" "They'll assume it was destroyed in the crash," Lysara answered, her voice carrying that distinctive harmonic quality that had become more pronounced as the human nanotech fully integrated with her systems. "Or that humans recovered it." "Either scenario serves Vexnar's purposes. I remain officially dead." The integration of human adaptive nanotech with Lysara's Talaxian biological systems had progressed beyond anyone's expectations. Dr. Chen had monitored the process with scientific fascination as the princess's damaged exoskeletal structure not only healed but evolved, incorporating the experimental human technology into something entirely new. "The neural interface adaptations are extraordinary," Maya explained during her daily briefing. "Her biological systems have essentially rewritten portions of the nanotech coding, while the nanotech has optimized her natural recovery processes. It's a true symbiosis." This unprecedented integration had practical implications beyond medical interest. Lysara now interfaced directly with human technology in ways no Talaxian had before, accessing and processing information with remarkable efficiency. "I can decipher their communications," she demonstrated, connecting to the colony's sensor array through a neural link that Dr. Kapoor had helped develop. "This scout is commanded by Subcommander Trazik, one of my cousin's loyalists." "Can they detect you?" Elise asked. "Not as I am now," Lysara replied with certainty. "The human components in my signature would register as interference, not Talaxian life signs." The scout vessel completed its survey after 16 hours, departing with what the colony's intelligence team interpreted as routine efficiency. No urgency, no alarm, merely the completion of a verification mission. "They're satisfied," Lysara confirmed. "Which gives us time to implement the next phase. That phase involved a delicate balance of technological innovation and strategic communication. Using the colony's quantum communication array, enhanced with Talaxian protocols Lysara provided, they established secure contact with members of her former command structure, still loyal to her vision of peace. Commander Krell, once Lysara's second-in-command and now reluctantly serving under Vexnar's authority, received the encrypted message with initial disbelief. This could be an elaborate human deception. His reply came, heavily encrypted and routed through 3 abandoned relay stations to avoid detection. Lysara's response was to transmit a neural pattern signature that incorporated both her unique Talaxian biological markers and the new integrated human technology, a combination impossible to falsify. Impossible, Krell's next message read after a long delay. Yet I cannot deny the evidence. How, Princess? Human intervention, she replied, simply. They saved me when our own people tried to eliminate me. The implications of this technology, of this cooperation, go far beyond our current political situation. Over the following weeks, a clandestine network formed. Loyal Talaxian officers, scientists who had supported Lysara's peace initiatives, and even members of other royal houses who opposed Vexnar's militaristic agenda, established secure communications with Nexus Prime. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen and Lysara worked with a select team of human scientists to develop applications of their integrated technology. The potential was staggering. Medical innovations that could benefit both species, communication systems that bridged the fundamental differences in how humans and Talaxians processed information, even defensive systems that could protect against the very weapons Vexnar was reportedly preparing. This integration, Maya told Elise during a late-night strategy session, it's not just saving one Talaxian princess, it's creating a template for how our species could work together on a biological level. Assuming we survive what comes next, Elise replied pragmatically. What came next arrived sooner than anticipated. The colony's long-range sensors detected a Talaxian battle group entering the system, 3 cruisers and accompanying support vessels, far more firepower than necessary for a routine patrol. Vexnar received intelligence about unusual communications. Lysara interpreted, accessing the encrypted Talaxian command channels. He suspects something but doesn't know what. This is a probing force, designed to provoke a response that would justify larger military action. Governor Abrams called an emergency council. Our defenses cannot withstand a determined Talaxian assault. Even with our enhanced systems, we're outgunned. We don't need to fight them directly, Lysara countered, her confident posture reflecting both her royal upbringing and her strategic experience. We need to change the narrative. Her plan was audacious. Rather than hiding or preparing for a doomed defensive stand, Nexus Prime would transmit an open invitation to the approaching Talaxian fleet, an offer of diplomatic engagement from the colony's leadership. This is insanity, Abrams protested. They'll see it as weakness. They'll see it as unexpected, Elise corrected, understanding Lysara's strategy. And the unexpected creates hesitation, which gives us the opening we need. When the Talaxian cruisers entered orbit, they found not a colony preparing for war, but one offering peaceful communication. The senior commander of the battle group, a veteran officer named Dravik who had fought against humans for years, accepted the invitation with suspicious caution. The diplomatic reception was arranged in the colony's central administrative complex. Security was tight but unobtrusive, a delicate balance of prudent protection and diplomatic openness. Elise, acting as the colony's military representative, greeted the Talaxian delegation with formal courtesy. Commander Dravik, she acknowledged. Nexus Prime welcomes you under the terms of the armistice. The Talaxian commander's bioluminescent patterns flickered with barely concealed disdain. A curious welcome, Lieutenant Commander Reeves, given the unusual communications emanating from your colony recently. Perhaps those communications would be better explained by Governor Abrams, Elise replied smoothly, gesturing toward the adjoining council chamber. He's eager to discuss any concerns the Talaxian Empire might have. As the delegation moved toward the chamber, Elise noted the tense posture of Dravik's honor guard, elite warriors prepared for a potential trap. What they couldn't know was that the true strategic element wasn't in the room they were entering, but in what would follow them through the door. Lysara had remained concealed, her integrated systems allowing her to move through the colony's service corridors undetected by standard Talaxian sensors. As the delegation entered the council chamber, she positioned herself at the entrance, waiting for the precise moment. Governor Abrams began the diplomatic exchange with practiced neutrality. "Commander Dravik, I understand you have concerns about communications from our colony. I assure you Nexus Prime remains committed to the armistice terms." "Interesting assurance," Dravik responded coldly, "given that we've detected transmissions using royal-level encryption protocols that died with Princess Lysara." "Not quite dead, Commander," came a harmonious voice from the entrance. The effect was electric. The Talaxian delegation turned as one, weapons half drawn before freezing in collective shock. Lysara stood in the doorway, her royal markings unmistakable despite the visible changes to her exoskeletal structure where human nanotech had integrated with her biological systems. "Princess," Dravik whispered, his military discipline momentarily shattered. "Former High Commander of the 7th Fleet," Lysara confirmed, entering the chamber with deliberate grace. "Reported killed in action near the Vega boundary. A convenient death, wouldn't you agree, Commander?" What followed was a masterpiece of political and military maneuvering. With Elise and Governor Abrams providing supporting evidence, Lysara revealed the conspiracy orchestrated by her cousin, the assassination attempt, the falsified reports, and the planned renewal of hostilities against human colonies. More shocking, to the Talaxian delegation was the revelation of her survival through human medical intervention, and the unprecedented integration of human adaptive technology with Talaxian biology. "See for yourself," she invited, allowing the Talaxian medical officer to scan her enhanced systems. "What you're detecting isn't just repair, but evolution, a symbiosis that offers possibilities neither of our species had considered." As the evidence mounted, the power dynamics shifted. Commander Dravik, a pragmatic military officer with a reputation for honoring the chain of command, faced a critical decision: remain loyal to the presumed authority of Prince Vexnar, or acknowledge the rightful heir who stood before him, transformed, but undeniably legitimate. "The 7th Fleet remains loyal to its true commander," he finally declared, formal and precise. "As do I." Within hours, the situation escalated beyond Nexus Prime. Dravik's battle group transmitted confirmation of Lysara's survival to loyal elements within the Talaxian military structure. Commander Krell, who had been quietly consolidating support, moved his forces to strategic positions throughout Talaxian space. Vexnar, realizing his conspiracy was unraveling, reacted with desperate aggression. A Talaxian dreadnought, accompanied by a strike force, departed the Imperial capital world, heading directly for Nexus Prime, a force that dwarfed the colony's defensive capabilities and even Dravik's battle group. "He's committed now," Lysara observed, reviewing tactical projections with Elise and the combined human-Talaxian command staff. "He can't allow this revelation to stand. If I live, his claim to leadership collapses. Our combined forces cannot withstand a dreadnought assault," Dravik stated bluntly. "Even with our loyal vessels incoming, we're outgunned." "Conventional weapons, yes," Elise agreed. "But conventional thinking is what got us into this war in the first place. Perhaps unconventional solutions will get us out." The solution came from the unique integration Lysara now embodied. Working with Dr. Chen and the colony's engineering team, they developed a targeted electromagnetic pulse weapon that exploited a specific vulnerability in Talaxian ship systems, a vulnerability only known to those with royal-level access to military specifications. "The pulse won't destroy their vessels," Lysara explained to the skeptical command staff. "It will temporarily disable their primary weapons and propulsion systems without harming the crews." "Giving us time to deploy this," Elise added, revealing the second component of their strategy: a massive information broadcast using modified quantum entanglement principles derived from the human-Talaxian technological integration. When Vexinar's dreadnought arrived, it found not just Dravik's loyal battle group defending Nexus Prime, but additional Talaxian vessels commanded by officers loyal to Lysara. Yet even this combined force seemed hopelessly outmatched by the dreadnought's overwhelming firepower. "Final warning," came Vexinar's transmission, his contempt evident even through the formal military communication. "Surrender the human colony and the traitors harboring false claims to royal authority." Lysara's response was to activate the integrated pulse weapon. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The dreadnought's weapons systems went dark, its massive engines sputtering to minimal power. Before Vexinar could comprehend what had happened, the information broadcast began. Every vessel in the system, every Talaxian communication device, received irrefutable evidence of the conspiracy. Lysara's supposed heroic death, Vexinar's orchestrated ascension, the planned renewal of a war that had exhausted both species, all laid bare with royal authentication codes that couldn't be dismissed. More shocking to many Talaxians was the evidence of human medical innovation saving their princess, and the revolutionary integration that had resulted. It fundamentally challenged the narrative of human inferiority that had underpinned much of the previous conflict. "This doesn't have to be your end, cousin," Lysara transmitted directly to the Dreadnought's command center. "But it is the end of this pointless conflict." The resolution came not through devastating warfare, but through the Talaxian equivalent of a bloodless coup. Officers aboard the Dreadnought, presented with irrefutable evidence of Vexinar's treachery, took him into custody. Throughout Talaxian space, loyal military and political factions reasserted control, acknowledging Princess Lysara as the rightful heir. 3 months later, Lysara stood beside Elise on the observation deck overlooking Nexus Prime's central plaza, where human colonists and a delegation of Talaxian officials mingled in what would have been unthinkable before. "The integration technology is being implemented in our joint medical research facility," Lysara noted, watching a Talaxian scientist demonstrating adaptive nanotech applications to fascinated human colleagues. "Dr. Chen believes we'll have treatments for previously incurable conditions in both our species within a year." "And the military applications?" Elise asked, ever the pragmatic security officer. Lysara's bioluminescent patterns shifted in what Elise had come to recognize as thoughtful consideration. "Being developed as well, but as defensive systems only." The Joint Council was quite clear on that point. The Joint Council for Human-Talaxian Cooperation had been Lysara's first official act upon resuming her position, a governing body comprising representatives from both species with equal authority over shared technologies and resources. "Your people are adapting to the new reality better than I expected," Elise observed. "As are yours," Lysara countered, "though I suspect neither side would have chosen this path voluntarily." "Sometimes the best paths aren't chosen," Elise replied, watching the sunset cast golden light across the colony's buildings. "Sometimes they're thrust upon us by circumstances we didn't anticipate." Lysara's integrated systems shimmered slightly in the fading light, a visual reminder of how an act of unexpected compassion had transformed not just one alien princess, but the relationship between two species. "Like a princess believed fallen, in battle," she said, "returning with unexpected allies." "And unexpected possibilities," Elise added. Beyond the colony's protective dome, the stars began to emerge, countless worlds where the story of human and Talaxian cooperation would eventually spread, a testament to what could be achieved when ancient enemies chose to save rather than destroy each other.